Today on What It's Like, an American 50s icon. This is the 1957 Chevy Bel Air convertible. It was also known as a ragtop, so if you hear the term ragtop, that's convertible. Before we get started, huge thank you to Street Machinery, Hot Rods and Classic Cars in Elucid, Ohio for making this possible. They specialize in late 50s, early 60s Chevy and X-frame cars. Link in the description below. Okay, a bit of an overview. 1957 was the last year of the Tri-5 Chevys. That's what they called the Chevys from 1955 to 1957. This was also the last year for Bel Air to be top of the line trim. It was replaced by Impala in 1958. Claire mackichan designed the 1957 Chevy as well as the 56 Chevy and the 55 Chevy under Harley Earl's designing department. Okay, let's walk through the different trim levels that were offered in 1957. Starting at the base or the lowest, cheapest price car that you could get was the 150. It was also known as the Business Coupe. Notice it does not have those side lines up there by the headlight. It just has little indentations where they would go. The 150 didn't have a rear seat or rear roll down windows. And notice the trim. It lacks a lot of trim. Okay, next up is the 210. Check out how much more trim you could get with the 210 package. You could also get the 210 in a 4-door as well as a 2-door wagon and a 4-door wagon, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on the 2-door wagon part. Maybe the Bel Air only came in a 2-door wagon. The biggest difference between the 210 and the Bel Air as far as like trim and appearances go, the 210 was a post car whereas the Bel Air was a hardtop, and where the white comes in on the back of the fin is layered on the Bel Air, whereas it's just flat on the 210 model. Next up, if you didn't have quite enough money for the Bel Air, but you wanted something more special than the 210, you could get the Delray, and it only came in a 2-door configuration. I forgot to mention on the 210 one, it still has the indentations right past the headlight, whereas on the Bel Air, those are gold lines. It just has the dimples there. It's kind of funny just to see it. It's like Chevy telling you, you cheaped out, you could have had 3 gold lines there if you would have got a Bel Air. Okay, sitting at the top is the Chevy Bel Air. Actually, at the tippy top is like the Nomad, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get into that a different day. But just check it out. Look at all the trim that you have. The tail fin in the back with the white coming through is layered. Such an American icon. It's hard to think of the 1950s and not think about this car. So while we have a picture of the convertible up here, in 1958, a V8 Chevy convertible was $2,611, which if you adjust it for inflation in 2022 dollars is roughly about $25,822.79. All things considered, that's an excellent price because I think even like a Ford Maverick's about that price now. You can't get hardly anything for $25,000. But the inflation adjustment rate was $9.89 to every 2021 dollar. The convertible weighed in at 3,405 pounds and 47,562 were produced. Here is a breakdown of the VIN number. Very useful information to somebody. You could pause it if you want. So I found a complete list of 1957 Chevy options. I'm not going to go through and talk about each individual one, but it's there. If you want to see the exchange rate, it's $1 in 1957 is equal to $9.89 in 2022. I said 2021 in a previous slide. I meant to say 2022. And the options look really cheap until you convert them. For example, AC, which gave you a 30 amp generator, it cost $430.50 in 1957. If you convert it to 2022 dollars, that's $4,258.24. The other really expensive option was fuel injection. It was $550. That equates out to be $5,440.26. It's crazy. That's why those cars don't have that, because it was so expensive. Okay, let's talk engines. Engines offered in 1957, you had the Blue Flame 6, which was a 235 straight 6. It was good for 140 horsepower. Then you could get the Turbo Fire 265 V8 with 2-barrel carb setup, 162 horsepower. Next from that was the Turbo Fire 283 V8 with the 2-barrel setup producing 185 horsepower. You could get the Super Turbo Fire 283 V8 4-barrel produced 220 horsepower. Chevy did offer fuel injection on passenger cars, although it was rare. Chevy offered all kinds of 283 V8 options. The fuel injection cars, you had a 283 with fuel injection, 250 horsepower. They also were able to make a 283 produce 1 horsepower per cubic inch in 1957. Most of those units went into Corvettes, so it produced 283 horsepower and it was 283 cubic inch. It was the first time a manufacturer was able to do 1 horsepower per cubic inch. So let's talk transmission options. You could get a 2-speed Power Glide automatic, you could get a 3-speed Synchro Mesh manual, or you could get the brand new for 1957 Turbo Glide. I got the next series of slides from oldcarbrochure.com. If you want to slow it down and pause it, it's a lot of useful information to somebody. So getting back to this 1957 Chevy Bel Air convertible, let's talk about the exterior styling. One thing I never really noticed until I did a more like a review or an in-depth dive of the 57 Chevy is notice how the headlight is kind of suspended. It has this like mesh behind it. Evidently that was a feature. They were actual functioning air intakes. There's the article if you want to read more about it. While we are up here, let's talk about all the chrome that you have on this car. It's absolutely amazing how much chrome is on this car. You even have, there's fog lights in the center there. There's these bumper guards that are protruding off of the bumper, that rubber black thing. Those are bumper guards. That was an accessory. Just look at these clean lines. Look at how all of it flows together. This car is so iconic. It's so hard to think of the 1950s and not think about this particular car. All right, so let's talk about this fin design for a real quick second. This is what makes the 57 Chevy so iconic, is these fins. They're not over the top like the 59 Cadillac fins. But this is what everybody remembers the 57 Chevy for, is these iconic fins. These are your brake lights as well as your turn signals. When you hit your turn signal indicators, these flash. Down here is the backup lights on both sides. If I'm not mistaken, usually this is where the exhaust goes, but they didn't have exhaust on this one. Come through the back. So this is a really cool feature here. The gas filler cap on this is actually behind the tail fin, and it was only like that for 1957. 1956 it was in the fin for 56, but it was in a different sort of area. So it just kind of opens like that, and that's where you put your gas. Just in case you ever wondered, the passenger side doesn't open. It has these creases to make it symmetrical with this side that does open. There's nothing, there's no latch or anything, it just opens. All right, let's talk about the trunk. So this car's got 2 keys, one for the ignition switch, one for the trunk, one for the key for the trunk, doors, and glove box is the same, and the ignition switch is 1 key. So just check this trunk out. This must be the original transmission, comes with this car. But just check out how big this trunk is. You could stick a transmission back here and it still look big. The transmission looks small in the trunk, but the transmission's actually pretty small, to be quite honest. But just check this out. Just look at how nice this trunk is done up. Nice rubber mat, full size spare, bias ply tire, of course. Just So if you ever wondered, is the glass real on a 57 Chevy convertible top? And it's actually like a plastic material. You can see it moving when you touch it. So it's not a real glass window, but just like a plexiglass / plastic window. All right, getting inside this 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Just take a look at that door panel. Look at how nice this is. This is the 57 Chevy Bel Air trim, so you could definitely see all the trim. And that's what really separated these cars from one another, is the trim. So just take a look at that. Got a nice armrest. It's padded, nice padded material. This is your door handle. This is your door window crank. It's got chrome trim at the top. It's actually framed in chrome, which is really sweet. Just to show you what that looks like. Show you what it looks like around. This is all chrome, all framed in chrome. I want to show you how these quarter windows operate. They're really cool. These ones, when you crank it, notice how the window is going down. It's kind of rotating. And just check out how that door works. Because we got a wraparound windshield, as mentioned on other 50s vehicles that we've done. The door comes in underneath the base of the windshield here and curves down inside. It gives it a different kind of look compared to modern cars. And the hinges come way in here. This handle here controls the vent window. I love cranking vent windows. It's a really nice touch. All right, wanted to show you what it's like when you sit inside here, how much space you have. The seat can be moved up front more, but I love this steering wheel. The steering wheel feels really nice in your hands. Notice where it comes on me. Steering wheel is very big in this car, but it's so nice. We're gonna bring you in here and show you what it's like when you look out the bullets in the hood. What the hood profile looks like. It looks really nice. It's awesome. So let's walk through this dashboard. It's very nice, clean dashboard. I love this dashboard layout and design. You got the temperature gauge. Okay, moving on to the center gauge, you have your speedometer, and then it tells you your odometer, how many miles the car has driven. Over to the right of that is your gas gauge. You got a column shifter in this. This probably has a 2-speed power glide. Moving down. Here you have your lights. Pull them out. One stop for parking lights. All the way out for your running. All the way out for your low beams. Right next to it you have your wipers. Beautiful Bel Air horn. There is your key. Take it out here real quick. I don't think that that's the original key. This is the key that we have. Tell me in the comments section below if that is the original key. Right next to the key switch you have your lighter or power outlet, whatever you want to use. Down from that you have climate control. You could turn it, this is it's set in the off position. You could put it up into high. Middle is low. It says air vent, heat, defrost, inside air, and outside temperature. And you control all those with these levers here. Next to that, you got the ashtray. Moving on over, you have your radio. Here's your radio, volume, and the tuner, pre-select buttons. Down from that, you got this glove box, cup holder indentations. If you're sitting there at a drive-in eatery, put your cups there. Dashboard glove box slips down inside here. It's all felt lined on the inside there. Nice light so you can see. Moving on over, you got a clock. And I love how the dashboard wraps up just like the windshield. See how it wraps around? It's really cool. And it flows into the door panel, which is made of a really nice material. This interior overall is really nice. It's two-tone red and gray. Okay, let's talk about getting under the hood of this. So underneath the center here, you'll see a latch. And this one's real simple. You just push up on it and it just goes up. There's no so just take a gander at this engine. This is a 283. Notice the fuel filter right underneath the air cleaner there. It's like an old bowl style, like 53 McCormick Farmall style. You just take that out, blow it out, put it back on. Simplicity is excellent. It's got the generator. This car doesn't look to be a power steering car, nor does it look to have power brakes. Okay, not to get cheesy on you guys, but 1957 Chevy Bel Air was the car that got me into cars. So to get the opportunity to do this was a milestone. As little as it may seem to just sit and just do a video with this, this was like where it was like meeting your hero turned into be a good thing. People often say don't meet your heroes, but this turned out to be a terrific thing because this car started it all for me. 14, 15-year-old me, this was the creme of the creme. This was the car to have, and it was just an awesome opportunity. I wish in the spring or summertime I could drive one and get to know what it's like to drive. I want to know if it's a floaty feel or a more harsh like truck feel. So I can't speak to what the ride or the handling is like, but the qualities and materials used inside are second to none. And it was a real pleasure and a huge thank you to Street Machinery and Classic Cars for making this possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I do, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, toodaloo!